All right, guys, so here we are downtown on the Esplanade. You guys will be able to see 8's the Esplanade behind me. Obviously the L Tower. I've done a full length extensive review of this building, but that was about, I would say, 4 or 5 years ago. So a lot has changed since then, but definitely go check out that review for a starter point. And of course, now I'm walking by 25 the Esplanade, which has definitely ruffled a lot of feathers when I included it in one of my not so favorable condo reviews. So let me quickly address 25 the Esplanade and then obviously 8 the Esplanade. Now, with regards to 25 the Esplanade, at the time, my primary issue with it was elevator wait times. And to be, very transparent, the homeless issue that was very much so ever present. Now, that is a separate point to discuss in terms of the ethics of the homeless issue. I'm not going to touch on that, neither is it the subject matter of this video. I personally think housing is a human right, but that is an ought. We're talking about what was the case, not what should have been the case, but was the case. It was the case that there was a big rampant homeless problem on the Esplanade that affected 8 the Esplanade and mainly 25 the Esplanade. And it was the case that it was not favorable to the buildings. But it seems as if that has been primarily rectified now that I'm here, and every last couple of times, the last 4 times I've had viewings in 8 the Esplanade for a buyer, or met with a seller in 25 the Esplanade, or all the other Esplanade buildings, the situation on the street is night and day. Safe to say it has been rectified, and it has been rectified for a year or so. Now, you can actually find a lot of cheap price per square foot units in 25 the Esplanade because it's a really old building, maintenances are higher. Don't get me wrong, and although in my opinion the elevator wait time issues still persist during rush hour, I must amend my review and tell you now that it has shifted back into a list of condos that might not be my top choices or the first set of buildings I would recommend, but certainly they have promoted themselves, in my mind, out of the Toronto condo buildings you should avoid list. And I always try to make amendments if a building improves itself, or relegate buildings or demote buildings if they have significant issues that were not present in the past. Brings me to the subject building of today. As the sun hits my eyes, I have very sensitive eyes, unfortunately, which is 8 the Esplanade. And 8 the Esplanade, in the theme of the street, when it was a new building, they hadn't removed the crane, there was a lot of shady activities happening with the management in terms of embezzlement. When that was the case initially, it was definitely not a good choice. The primary value proposition of it was the location. Location is outstanding. But in recent years, and especially in the immediate, last 2 to 3 years, I must say that it has made significant improvements. And don't take my word for it. A lot of my contacts in the building say as such, and a lot of other realtors who have worked in this building, who are my colleagues, have said as such as well. It's still not a building that gets me overly excited. I would probably still rank it as a solid level B building, not even a B plus, but it's a B grade. B is pretty good. The reason it's shy of a B plus, in my opinion, is that, elevator outages is a little bit more common than I would like it. And frequently I have had conversations with residents and contacts inside the building that the amenities are constantly under repair or construction with small nicks and knacks. Furthermore, it could be very loud. Esplanade is a very loud street. It's next to Union, it's close to Yonge, there's a lot of construction, and especially from the units, if you're on the lower floor, it can be tremendously loud. But the demographics inside the building, whether it's owner or tenants, are actually on the higher end. There's very high demographic individuals in the building in terms of wealth or status, I would say, and this is the building right behind me, 8 the Esplanade. So let's go inside the building. Let me show you my unit for rent that I'm hoping to bring on market soon. And by the time you're probably watching this, it has already been on market. All right, guys, so we're upstairs right now inside the unit. And this unit definitely has that wow factor view. I'll show you the view in a sec. Here we are. This is the view of the unit. It pretty much has a panoramic view of the city. It is a corner unit. Nowadays, they don't really build corner units that are 1+1s. Usually they dedicate the corner units for 2 bedrooms in newer buildings. And earlier on, I already discussed my opinion on this building. These are probably the best 1+1 floor plans you can find in this building, because the other 1+1 floor plans, or even 1 bedrooms obviously, have this column, but this column is literally smack dab in the middle of the floor plan sometimes. At least here, this column, although it takes away a little bit of space, is in the corner where, you know, you're not gonna do much here. Another thing that's actually quite rare about this building as well, really for most units, but especially units that are under 2 bedrooms, so 1s and 1+1, is it has parking as well. The L Tower 8, the Esplanade, is not a building that you can comfortably seek parking spots in. Parking in this building is quite scarce, and anyone who's ever had to visit this building or this area, you should know how much of a difficult time most people will have finding visitor parking, let alone resident parking. And in today's high inventory rental market, where there's a lot of units for rent, you go on market, you gotta have a quick lease pricing. I always offer my clients options, a pricing strategy for a quick lease, a pricing strategy for waiting on market a bit to see how much we can extract. But of course, paramount on top of price, more important than price, is tenant quality at the end of the day when you are the landlord. And this is the den area. This is not intended for a second bed. It's intended for a home office, and it would make a pretty good home office, I would say, probably. I mean, you have pretty good views, right? So, you know what, city views to some is overrated, to others it's the primary value proposition if they're looking for a condo in downtown. The kitchen is on the smaller side, but this unit is not intended for someone who's going to be cooking, right? It's the basic stuff. I would never, if I'm representing a tenant, I would never bring a family or a couple or a young professional who's really keen on kitchen space, because this is not the value proposition of this unit.